I see a behavior pattern that is common both to the people with very petty behavior. I don't know if this is the correct translation of the word I have in mind in Portuguese. Petty behavior being this kind of behavior that you're always having second intentions in everything you do, the way you act. You always use low blows, you always end up victimizing yourself in the end, despite you being doing all the shit and all arranging all the fuss and the mess. I see this behavior in the Western propaganda, mainstream news. Well, not the mainstream news; they're just a channel, but the Western leaders, Western politicians, and I see this behavior tying this to the. I'm gonna tie this this topic to yesterday's video. I see the same pattern of behavior in this right-wing populism. It's exactly the same way of doing propaganda, same way of not having any fair play, same way of using misleading people, ignorant arguments, degrading the quality of the debate. And this seems to be similar in the allegations or the rhetoric coming from Western leaders. And for example, I was reading this news and I'm driving, I cannot pull it up, but it was CNN, it was Portuguese CNN, which means there should be some kind of translation article in the English outlet, the English version. But the title was Russia's nuclear blackmail is pushing the world to a more dangerous stance. And then subtitle was like due to the military failures, Russia is using more and more the menace, the threats of using nuclear weapons. And all the autocracies in the world are watching closely and taking notes, because if Putin gets his way with these nuclear threats, they can learn from it and do the same. You see, if you have a little bit of gray matter inside your skull, you easily see this is like scare tactics, like fear mongering, because it doesn't even correspond to the truth. Russia has done warnings of using nuclear exchange, but these allegations by the West have been used as propaganda since the very beginning of the SMO. And Russia never threatened anyone, never took the initiative of this, always responded. And so you see the behavior. The mess is created by one side, which then provokes a response on the other side, and the side that created the mess then goes and victimizes and spreads fear and points the finger. See, we told you. Like I remember when I was in primary school, there were kids who behaved like this. I guess maybe they were predetermined to be the sons of bitches of today's leadership. And I see this in the behavior of people. For example, I think I've mentioned this before. I am unionized, and I am active on the union, mobilizing in negotiations, and I've been a part of other struggles in other places where I've worked to improve the quality of everyone, no exception. But within the group you always have these vultures, these people with the petty behavior, always trying to see if they can gain from our struggle, but always being part of the problem we fight against. See? It's the same kind of mentality, it seems. I think it has been present in every historical moment. And now, yeah, we're living this kind of times. And I just read that news on CNN, and the other thing I read about is that they're accusing Russia now of, well, not Russia, they're accusing China of supplying, I think it was the UK foreign minister, I'm not sure, some official in UK says that it knows that China is providing little aid to Russia. This is another of this example of this behavior, which is evidence of what I'm talking about, because they've been accusing China of that also since the very beginning of the SMO. And it's funny how they start the title, and of course most of the people will only read the title. China is providing little aid, lethal from deadly, yeah, lethal, not little, little aid to Russia. And then of course if you read a little bit further the article, you see that China has been supplying this kind of components which are essential for the industry of Russia. So it's not like they are supplying tanks, BMPs, APCs. Sorry, BMP is the Russian APC, Russian-Ukrainian APCs. Or drones, or it's not like they're supplying anything of that like the West is doing in huge numbers, or missiles, or bomb, or ammunition. No, it's not like they're supplying any of that. But now the West complains that China is aiding Russia. And what does the West do? It threatens China and it threatens Russia. And then complains of them being more approach to each other and more cooperating to each other. You see, this kind of behavior, it's great, it's psychopathic. I've mentioned this before, I think, but it is, and this is the behavior that then we see communicated on the news. And everything the big media communicates, spreads, I do strongly believe that it has influence on the average people's behavior. It's like a mind control virus, right? You have the worst of the worst in charge. And they are in command of the narrative that gets spread out. So you see people just barking, spewing, throwing up stupidity when we discuss such items. It's sickening, I have to confess. really get fed up with this. And I see this, like I've mentioned, in every aspect. This is I mentioned geopolitics, you're right, the Russia and Ukraine case, but I can really give some benefit of the doubt in this case, because some people, I mean, it's more difficult to get informed, it's more complex, it's a different war. Well, we haven't had like a thousand kilometer frontline war in a long time. Still, but okay, I try to be benevolent and give the benefit of the doubt. But then when it comes to the example of Israel, that it's I talk to people and they seem brain dead to me. Israel has the right to defend himself, and I try to explain. You try to elaborate an explanation. Look, this has a history background, it goes this, and then it happens this, you give several examples. And then a lot of this question, because it's the same question from different people in completely apart situations and people that don't know each other, you see. So this is when you realize the influence. And you get questions like, so you're saying that you support Hamas? Or questions like, oh, just because the past is like that, it doesn't mean they have to do that to the Israelis. And therefore the Israelis must defend themselves. Or, but you see, look at the quantity of people, children, women, innocent civilians that they have killed and destroyed infrastructure and the suffering they provoked. Oh, Hamas is using them as human shields. I do remember when Ukraine was using civilians as human shields. I do remember. And when they staged the famous Bucha so-called massacre, which then they could never produce any credible evidence afterwards, despite all the Russian pleas for that. Yeah. So the psychos are using the dumb to control the world. if I can put it this way. Okay, I know this is very, how do I say, I'm narrowing down a lot of things. I'm painting a picture of the world and of the people which tends to be a very pessimistic one. But you have to be aware that this is happening. Of course, don't over-focus on it. Just be aware it happens, because it's healthy, so you don't fall for bullshit. But of course, the world has good things. In your everyday life, people you know, you have the good examples, but this needs to be pointed out, because the general direction we are heading politically in the Western Bloc is very dangerous. It's the Western who is escalating, not Russia. It's Israel who is escalating, not Hamas. Realize this. Don't cooperate with it. Unionize. And don't give the cocksuckers an easy time. The vultures. I'll see you on the next one. I hope so.